Hello and welcome to Sportszone. I am your host, Alec Rapp. The Mean Green, they got back on track this past weekend. They lost 2 games in a row. They come back here to Apogee Stadium, get a big win, 45-28 over Florida Atlantic. And joining me now to discuss that game, I have Mason Shepard and Yassine KU. How's it going, guys?
It's going pretty good for me. My Longhorns won. UNT, the home school, got the win, so it was pretty good for me.
So it sounds like a good weekend.
It definitely was.
Yassine, I want to start with you. Let's take a look at the overall game itself. What were your thoughts?
Yeah, so I mean, all around we played pretty good football. I mean, if you look at it, we played pretty good on defense besides a couple missed tackles. We seen Rich Tejada, he's a stud. He had 2 pick sixes, which was amazing. But really the point I want to hammer on would be the run game, no doubt about it. I mean, if you look at it, we had over 40 carries for 300 yards, which is amazing. If we sustain that pace, I don't see us losing in the near future.
Yeah, let's throw in the fact that Akaika Ragsdale, 16 carries, 119 yards, 7.4 yards per carry, and a touchdown. That is our bread and butter. That is our game. And I think the fact that we lean really heavily on that, like you said, 300 yards total for the run game, that propelled us to this win.
It certainly did. You mentioned it. The bread and butter for this football team is running the football. And over the past couple of weeks, those 2 losses they had back-to-back, UNLV and Memphis specifically, they got away from that. So they had 138 total yards of rushing against Memphis, and that's not this team. Like, they are not a passing team. Now, don't get me wrong. The Austinani to Jair Shorter connection is legit, but at the end of the day, they're a running team. Now, Mason, you are a Texas fan.
That is right.
And the saying that goes around with the University of Texas is, oh, Texas is back.
Yes.
So I want to shift that. North Texas. Is North Texas back?
Well, UNT fans, let me talk to you. No, because I don't think that there's anything that we have to go back to. I mean, we have not had a successful program in over 6 years. That is not acceptable. That's embarrassing. And quite frankly, even though we won this game, what it seems by like a pretty wide margin, we still went 4 of 12 on 3rd down. We were 9 penalties for 69 yards. I mean, it's good considering our standards of penalties and the yards they cost us. So no, we're not back. You know, we are atop of the Conference USA, but we're still 3-3 right now. And that still doesn't say much. So no, we're not back.
Yeah, and I mean, like you were saying, I mean, we've been winning 4 to 6 games since 2018. I mean, that's not impressive. We have nothing to go back to.
No.
Really, if we want to go back to how we used to be in the past, I would say we need in-house adjustments, no question about that. Because, I mean, if you look at it, it's been the same thing for over 5 years, and it's not going to change.
Yeah, I mean, Seth Luttrell, he hasn't won a single postseason game whatsoever. And really, I think he was riding off the coattails of Mason Fine, and that's the last time we were good when Mason Fine was here. But as you mentioned, Mason,
yes,
they're on top of Conference USA. Yassine, how long do you think that lasts?
Hopefully, it can last the rest of the season. And the reason I say that is because, I mean, if you look at the rest of UNT's schedule, they have Louisiana Tech, they have UTSA, Western Kentucky. I mean, those are all winnable games, especially if we do like we were talking about, run the football, run. That's the main thing. If we can sustain a good running attack for the rest of the season, we will be able to win. I mean, UNT, it's doubtful knowing us. There's always disappointment, but a man can be hopeful.
Yeah, a man can be hopeful and a man can be doubtful. You know, I don't think we're going to hold this for long, to be honest. There are still so many holes in our game. At least we can look at it from the defensive side. Now, we got 2 turnovers. That's great.
Yeah.
But at the same time, that 3-3 record still speaks something. And it speaks to the fact that, you know, our defense doesn't play as well, especially when our offense is not connecting with playing our game. So I don't think we're holding this very long.
So the storyline, I guess, of the year has been Seth Luttrell in his contract year, hasn't won a bowl game, hasn't won anything in the postseason. Yassine, is there anything he can do to keep his job?
Yeah, no. I think he'll be done here very soon in the very foreseeable future. And like I was talking about, we just need a new, fresh face at head coach. I mean, for the past 5 or 6 years, it's been six games here, 4 games here. And I mean, his record as a coach for UNT has been 37-38, under 500, which isn't great. So no, he doesn't have a long time left here.
Yeah, and then on top of that, he has created this culture of being acceptable to be losers. And that, unfortunately, that's the truth, Seth Luttrell. Let me talk to you. That's the reality. You have made it comfortable for us to be losers, and that reflects all the way down into just like school spirit at the end of the day. You know, we don't have that type of camaraderie that a Texas football team would have. It's not acceptable.
Well, the Mean Green, they get the week off, and then next week, Louisiana Tech right here at home. They've got a couple big games coming up. That one, they've got Western Kentucky and UAB still. But there's another team in the DFW that had some big games. The Dallas Cowboys, they took down the Washington Commanders on Sunday. We'll talk about that right after this.
There. Can I tell you a cat joke? Just kidding. Why did the girl ask the mushroom to dance? Because he was a fun guy. What do you call a pig that knows karate? Pork chop. Why was the basketball court all wet? Why? Because the players kept dribbling all over it. Can I tell you another one? So how does a tissue dance? Put a little boogie on it. What's Beethoven's favorite fruit? Banana. What is a boxer's favorite drink? Fruit punch. Dad, they took over my bedroom. Come on, come on. Okay, Dad. 1, 2, 3. Dad! You saved me. Dad?
Are you okay?
I'm fine, dear.
Your hero needs you now, and AARP is here to help. Find the care guides you need at aarp.org/caregiving.
3 straight wins for the Dallas Cowboys, who have dominated the NFC East for the last 2 years. A big win on Sunday, 25-10 against the Washington Commanders. And joining me now to discuss that game, I have Jeremiah Russo and Kenzie Neely. What a game.
What about them Cowboys, baby? They all thought it was over. It is definitely rush hour time.
It's always rush hour. Kenzie, I want to start with you. What were your thoughts on the game?
I think that Rush did what he was supposed to do. The defense is what really was the main point of the game. That's the only reason I kept watching. It wasn't about Rush. It wasn't about if Dak was going to come back. It was mostly the defense because it surprised me all game.
Yeah, definitely that offense. You know, it started off really slow, only having a field goal and only like 10-3. But then that front seven, man, is something absolutely special. And you got DeMarcus Lawrence and you have Micah Parsons on top of that, who are also in the top 10 for sacks alone. That's ridiculous to have. The Cowboys are so lucky to have a defense like this that they got lucky, honestly, that the offense the defense bailed that offense out because, come on now. It is rush hour, and he did what he had to do, 15 for 27 and 2 touchdowns. But, I mean, at the end of the day, you still got to be a little more, complete with that.
Yeah, I mean, the Cowboys haven't really had a backup like Cooper Rush like this in quite some time. He's the first Cowboy to win his first 4 starts. Dak Prescott didn't even do that. He started 3-1 his rookie season. The one thing I have about that game, I don't know if you guys watched it, but the Washington Commanders were wearing trash bags. Those uniforms.
It fits the franchise.
It really does.
It really does.
Those uniforms, they were terrible.
Yeah, they were. They looked confused as the team looks confused.
They were dressed for their own memorial. That's how it really was.
They really were. And I mean, they kind of looked like a knockoff Steelers team. And given they did play like the Steelers did on Sunday, but they just didn't look. It was bad. I really didn't like it. But I do want to talk about something that looked good. Kenzie, that defense. Are they better than last year's defense?
They're better than they've ever been. I mean, I was looking at the stats, and this is the first time since 1973 that they have only allowed 1 touchdown each game. I mean, we've only had a couple games, but 1 touchdown from the defense, that's crazy to see, especially from the Cowboys.
I mean, you had a loss of Randy Gregory, too, and, you know, a couple other key guys. You pick up Jason Peterson, even though that's the O-line. I mean, even more additions. I know I just said Jason Peterson, that's the wrong line. But you look on the other side, you still, like I said, Micah Parsons, DeMarcus Lawrence, they're leading the sacks, even in tackles. Trayvon Diggs is coming back, baby. Picks in back-to-back games. People said it can't be done and he was a phony, but look at us now, baby. Let's go. I think this Cowboys defense, like I agree with Kenzie, man. This is something special. And you know what? I think we are seeing another version of the Doomsday. Doomsday 4, baby. Come on. Doomsday 4.
I think it could be a Doomsday defense. I am the biggest defender. You will not find a bigger defender of Trayvon Diggs than myself. He has played so well in coverage this year. All that talk about him being burnt last year, it's not happening this year. Y'all are right, though. That defense is just something else. It's so much. It's really refreshing because we haven't had a Cowboys team that's had a good defense. I can't even think of a time.
You weren't even alive. I wasn't even alive. Kenzie wasn't even alive.
We weren't alive.
This is something special. I really hope when Dak Prescott comes back that, you know, we just keep it the same way because for whatever reason, Cooper Rush has just fitted so well. Like we already said, 4-0 as a starter. He's fit perfectly into this offense. And even on top of that, like, we cannot have this offense absolutely squander this.
You mentioned Dak. Jeremiah, should he start this week?
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I'm sorry, guys. When you're 4-0 as a starter, I mean, you just got to keep it going, man. I mean, look, Cooper Rush is not Dak Prescott. We all know that. Contracts are very, very different. We all know that. But at the same time, like, Cooper Rush is getting it done, man. I'm sorry. I know this is a horrible stat to point out. He has more touchdowns than Dak Prescott. Like, I know he played, like, not even a full game, but, like, he's got more, so why not? I don't see why not.
What do you think, Kenzie?
I mean, as much as I hate to say it, and I don't like the Cowboys, I think Cooper Rush is doing what he's supposed to do. Like, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. I agree with you there. Dak, I feel like he's just going to mess up the mojo. They're doing really great this season. They surprised me, and that's hard for me to say for the Cowboys, but they're killing it, and Rush is doing what he's supposed to do.
It's rush hour, baby. It's rush hour in Dallas, Texas.
Very quickly, Kenzie, are the Eagles the team to beat right now in the NFL?
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah.
what do you think, Jeremiah?
It's kind of a hard one. They've had a weaker schedule, but at the same time, I mean, their defense is top 2, and it ain't 2. I mean, you look at it, they really aren't. They're the number 1 in sacks, the number 1's like defense completions. Like they stopped the quarterback, and I mean the Dallas Cowboys are actually right behind them. So I mean, it's going to be a battle of the defenses. And when you have Jalen Hurts absolutely balling out, I mean, it's going to be a hard one. But I think as of right now, yeah, that's the team you just got to keep your eyes on, win both those divisionals, and you go into the playoffs, baby.
My answer is no. Look, I know I've got Philadelphia Eagles fans watching this with me right now. Guess what? They're not that good. They're the only team in the NFL that's played 4 teams under 500. The Cowboys, they take on the Eagles in 2 weeks, so that's going to be a fun one to watch. But hey, in just over 2 weeks, there's another Dallas team back. That's the Dallas Mavericks. And coming up next, we're going to discuss our thoughts on the upcoming season.
During high school, I hung with the wrong crowd and I never graduated.
I helped Santiago in many different ways, like all fathers do, because he always wanted to go to college.
I felt a little embarrassed to come back to school, but eventually once I came here, I knew that it's for a bigger goal.
He was very dedicated, hardworking. He connected with his teachers. He connected with other students. That was one of the key reasons why he was able to keep forging ahead.
It was amazing to see him graduate. This was one thing that meant so much to him, and of course, it meant so much to us too.
With the help of my father and having my son, that was all the motivation that I needed. That support is everything.
Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org.
I'll never forget the day our landlord called and said, "Read your lease. No pets allowed." My owner tells him my dog ate the lease, but that didn't work. And now I'm stuck in a shelter. But this pit bull is ready for a new crib. I'm loving, loyal, and play well with others. So don't be intimidated by all my muscles, because the biggest one I have is my heart. That's right, I said it.
Welcome back into Sportszone. I am your host, Alec Rapp. Well, Mavs Media Day, it was just over a week ago, and it came with a couple surprises including one that shocked a player. And joining me now to discuss Mavs Media Day and the upcoming season, I have Gabby Pippins and Adam C. I don't know about you guys. I'm ready for basketball to be back.
Me too.
Me too.
I've missed it so much. Oh my gosh.
I just love basketball. I love football. Football's the first love when it comes to sports, but basketball is so much fun, and the Mavericks are so much fun. I want to talk about this starting five. So let's go ahead and take a look at it. Point guard, none other than Luka, because why would you not start Luka at point guard? Then you've got Spencer Dinwiddie, Reggie Bullock, Dorian Finney-Smith, and JaVale McGee. Gabby, what are your thoughts on this starting five?
Honestly, I think it's a really strong starting five. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a really great season for the Mavs. Obviously, Luka, because who else? I mean, he's one of the best in the league right now. And then JaVale McGee, I think he's going to bring a lot of experience to the team and a lot of great defense. Overall, I just think everyone seemed very confident, especially in the scrimmage they had. And I'm just really excited to see this starting five. With Spencer Dinwiddie, I was surprised to see him starting, but hopefully he'll be able to adapt that bigger role and just be really great for the Mavs.
What do you think, Adam?
I think the starting lineup looks fairly nice. I was a little surprised by Dinwiddie as well, because I'm always used to him being our backup point guard, and I've heard that Frank Ntilikina is gonna get a lot of chances to run the second team, and I don't know how I feel about that, but we'll see. And I know that people are very surprised about Wood not starting. However, looking at that lineup, I think that Jason Kidd is going to be, this is not a set starting lineup for the year. This is going to be very flexible. It's going to change week in, week out, game in, game out. And I think we're fine for now. We just have to see how the team gels.
Yeah, I think that's really important because basketball, they kind of do this little dance where if they don't really have a true set starting five, they'll kind of play around with it for the first 15, 20 games and just kind of see what works. But the thing that makes me really happy, finally some love for Dodo. Dorian Finney-Smith was a baller in the postseason. He's finally getting some love, getting the chance to start. Now, there is one guy that they got in the offseason who is not starting. Adam, that is Christian Wood. What are your thoughts on him being the sixth man?
I know a lot of people are actually very upset. Personally, I'm not. I actually think that that decision was made for two reasons. Christian Wood's defense is not the greatest, and this is a very defensive-minded team. And I also think it's because he doesn't necessarily fit the Mavs play style yet. I would say give him about half a season to a full season with coaching under Jason Kidd, and I think that he will be starting next year, most likely.
I agree. I mean, at first I was thinking Christian Wood would be the clear choice, but I feel that JaVale just has that vet experience. I mean, this is his 14th season.
Yeah.
So he's definitely going to be a big help for the Mavs. I think he just has that edge of that experience, and he's got 3 championships under his belt. 2 back-to-back with Golden State and then 1 with the Lakers. So I just think along with that and his ability to play with any type of player, I think that's really going to help him be able to be that better center. Yes, Christian Wood is going to be great, but not yet.
Yeah, I think it's going to take a little bit of time. Christian Wood, he's in a contract year, so kind of a big season for him. The thing that I'm so happy about this offseason, the big issue that the Mavs had was they didn't have a true center. I love Dwight Powell, but he's not a true center. He's just not. He's a good backup, but he's not a starting center. They finally get Luka that, and I'm wanting to see some Dwayne Wade, LeBron James type plays, just that electrifying offense. And I do want to talk about that offense, Gabby. So if we're going to look at this offense, they lose Brunson in the offseason to the Knicks. Are they going to take a step back, or do you think they're going to kind of be right there?
Yeah, I think it was a tough thing for the Mavs to lose Brunson, but I think they'll make up for that in their defense. I mean, they've got JaVale McGee, who we've already talked about several times. Great defensive player. We've also got Christian Wood. Although his defense isn't as good, he's still very great player. So I think overall their defense has improved, so they'll be able to make up for what they've lost in the offense with defense. We're still going to take a little bit of a punch from losing him, but we'll be able to make up for that and more.
Yeah, and while losing Brunson was a pretty big loss, I also think that what we lost in our backcourt, we have regained in our front court because our inside scoring is now just opened up significantly, JaVale and Christian Wood are going to help. The pick and roll is going to hopefully be really good. And I'm hoping that we have a Dallas version of Lob City.
Well, hopefully we do. The Mavericks, they're chasing their first ring since 2011. There's another chase taking place right now in the DFW. That's Aaron Judge looking for number 62. And when we come back, we're going to talk about the most unbreakable records in sports. So don't go anywhere.
We know what it's like to go to war, to sacrifice for what you believe is right. We know what it's like to be away from our family and to lose our friends. We know what it's like to bravely step forward. We see those who are redefining what it means to serve, what it means to be a patriot, and what it means to be a hero, to selflessly serve our communities, to step up to an unknown situation, and to save lives. From our nation's injured veterans to the faces of courage across America today, we see you. We support you. We salute you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for your service.
There are 16 million children struggling with hunger in America. That's 1 in 5 daughters, sons, neighbors, and classmates who don't know where their next meal is coming from. Yet billions of pounds of good food go to waste every year. It's time we do something about it. Feeding America is a nationwide network of food banks that helps provide meals to millions of kids and families in need. Visit feedingamerica.org to help them feed even more. Together, we can solve hunger. Together, we're feeding America.
Aaron Judge is racing towards an American League record 62 home runs in a single season. And that race, it is continuing tonight at 7:05 right here in the DFW against the Texas Rangers. And that record breaking just got me thinking about all the unbreakable records in sports. And joining me to discuss some really, really unbreakable records, I've got Ryan Baldwin and Parker Smith. How's it going, guys?
Doing great. How are you?
I'm great. I have a question, though. So, Parker, do you think that Aaron Judge is going to get 62? He's got 2 more chances.
100%. He's going to get it. It's scripted. You know how this works. You know how this works. The MLB needs their money. Aaron Judge is going to break this record. The publicity is going to go crazy. It's going to happen. It's in the cards.
I will say it's going to happen, but not because it's scripted. It's mostly because Glenn Otto is scheduled to pitch one of these 2 games.
Yeah.
He has a knack for giving
They
up
knew
home
this.
runs.
The MLB wants Glenn Otto to be pitching.
But the interesting thing, though, is that this is a makeup series, too. So
Yeah,
it's
it
like,
is.
it's not even a game that was really supposed to be played at this time of
Yeah.
year.
Exactly.
Personally, I say walk him every single at bat so he doesn't get it, but that's just me.
You're a hater.
Don't be that
Well,
guy.
you know what? I
Don't
want
be
to
that
be.
guy.
I would be that guy if I'm being complete. Look, they did it to Miguel Cabrera. The Yankees did it to Miguel Cabrera, too, so not
Fair
really
enough.
a fan of that.
Fair enough.
Ryan, I want to start with you. Unbreakable records in sports. What do you got?
Okay, so let's start with this one. Bill Russell, 11 NBA championships during his career. Now, you might think it's Tom Brady for either the fastest retirement or his 7 rings, but that's simply not true. Bill Russell won 11, and if you look at the other great players of our time, LeBron James only has 4. MJ only had 6. No one even came close to Bill Russell. In fact, the next highest person was his teammate Sam Jones with 10 as part of that Celtics dynasty. So there's just no way that anybody's going to catch up to Bill Russell's 11. The other one I have, take you back to 2004, a game between the Flyers and the Senators.
Some hockey.
NHL hockey. 419 penalty minutes combined between the two.
I didn't even know there was that many minutes in a game. I mean, what's going on there?
It's 14 fighting majors, 9 game misconducts, 3 double game misconducts, and in case you don't know anything about hockey, last season the Nashville Predators were the most penalized team in the NHL. They ended up with 1,035 penalty minutes. So in one game, the Flyers and the Senators racked up half of what a team would get in a season.
That's insane. Like like we look at like football teams, like the Cowboys tend to be a little undisciplined. That's undisciplined.
No, that's hockey.
Well,
so
I mean,
how
true.
long does this game take to play when there's that many penalty minutes? I mean, it has to be like a 4-hour game, right? Because the refs
The refs apparently spent an hour and a half tallying up all the penalty minutes at the end of the game.
I figured it would. I don't. Oh,
There's a penalty minute right there.
Exactly.
2 minutes delay of game on Parker.
So, Parker, I do want to come to you, though. So, obviously, those are two. Obviously, the Bill Russell one, 11 championships.
Yeah.
That's going to be very difficult. Tom Brady, he's looking like he might retire, so he's not going to get close to
Not
that.
anymore. He's getting divorced. Now he's got no reason to retire.
That is certainly true.
He's going to play till he's 50, huh?
He might. Who knows? But he's still got to get 4 more.
Mm-hmm.
So, Parker, what were your 2 records?
So the first record that stands out to me is we're going to take it back to some old NBA basketball. We're going to look at Wilt Chamberlain's records. So first of all, the guy averaged 50 points per game for an entire season, which is just crazy. But I mean, it's a little understandable when you're a 7-foot monster playing against plumbers. But what's even more impressive to me was he averaged 48 and a half minutes per game. And you say, well, Parker, how is that possible? There's only 48 minutes in an NBA game. So that means not only did he play every single minute of every game he played in, but you got to count in overtime minutes as well to get to 48 and a half minutes.
That's crazy.
So that's easily something that will never be broke again. And then for my second record, I'm going to go to baseball, and I'm going to look at Cal Ripken Jr., who started every single game for 16 seasons.
Yeah.
I think the number was 2,632 games straight, which will obviously never be done again. I mean, you look at guys in the MLB today, and like superstars like Mike Trout miss like half the games every season. You look at a guy that played 16 straight seasons in the MLB, that'll never be done again.
And not to mention, we live in the kind of, you get your rest stage. You don't want those guys getting hurt. Now, for me, the first one brings me a little bit of joy. It's the Bills losing 4 straight Super Bowls. Not only is it difficult to just get back to a Super Bowl in back-to-back years, but to go to 1, 2, 3, 4 from 1990 to 1993, losing every single one of them, 2 of those, of course, to the Dallas Cowboys.
You thank the hometown Cowboys for that one, right?
Exactly. That's never going to be done again. And then the other one, Nate Burleson, in college, he had a game, 326 yards, no touchdowns. The most yards in a game with no touchdowns. That's absolutely insane.
That
now,
is pretty
very
crazy.
quickly, Parker, what is your UNT record that will never be broken?
So my UNT record that will never be broken is through 1966 through 1968, when me and Joe Green was playing at UNT, we allowed less than 2 yards per carry each season, which is unreal because you look at it now and it's like if you're rushing for less than 4 yards per carry, you're like, okay, that's not very good. You cut that number in half, and that's what our run defense was like when the future Hall of Famer was playing at UNT. So that's a pretty incredible record.
That is certainly a very incredible record here at UNT. There's a ton of unbreakable records throughout sports, and tonight, in just over an hour, Aaron Judge is looking to break the American League record. And hey, when we come back on Thursday, we're going to be talking some MLB playoffs, so make sure to come back for that. If you're on social media, Twitter or Instagram, make sure to give us a follow at NTTV_sports. And don't go anywhere because coming up next is NTTV's Nightly News.
What does it look like when a life is truly changed?
I feel a sense of accomplishment because I built a house. This house has brought us financial independence.
It's a great place to raise a family.
Strength, fuerza. When I look back where we've come from to where we are today, it makes my heart very happy.
Potential. Potencia.
For me, this house means all of us together